Hi, and welcome to NicheCraft. My name is Cassie, and I'm your host. And today we are going to learn the fifth stitch for the Magic Memory Afghan. So the Magic Memory Afghan is a crochet along that I started, and we have been learning stitches every 2 weeks for a while. Now I had to take a break because I got sick, and now we're back on schedule, and I will be releasing the last 4 stitches every other Thursday for the rest of the crochet along. Of course, I will also show you how to stitch the squares together and also how to block them and how to add a border if that's something that you would like to do. If you have not joined the crochet along, no worries. I have a playlist and all of the stitches are in there. I also have an introduction which shows you how to pick your colors if you want to pick them in the magic way that I thought was a fun way of making an Afghan. But if you don't want to pick colors that way, you can always just pick 3 colors that you think go really well together. And what we do is we learn a stitch every other Thursday, and for each stitch we make 3 squares, and the squares are, for me, 11 by 11 inches, and that's using a J hook and a 4-weight yarn. Now if you want your finished product to be a little bit smaller, go ahead and use a I hook. And if you want it to be a little bit bigger, go ahead and use a K hook. Of course, you can also make it bigger by using a 5-weight yarn as well. That said, let's get started with this week's stitch. Now the Magic Memory Afghan is a stitch sampler crochet along, and because it's a stitch sampler, we have all sorts of different stitches, all of them having some kind of texture, and that's that element that I'm adding to each one of the stitches. So for this stitch, the texture is going to be very understated. I did deliberate whether or not I wanted this to be one of the stitches in the patterns, and I just could not leave it out. It's one of my favorite stitches, and it is so nice to use to make blankets or scarves or any other kinds of items out of. So the stitch that we're going to use for today is going to be the back loop single crochet. So some of you guys probably already know how to make this, and if you do, then that is awesome. For those of you who don't know how to make it, however, I'm excited to show you how. It's super easy, and these blocks will work up very fast. To begin with the back loop single crochet, you're going to want to make a slip knot and put that on your hook. For each of the stitch sampler blocks, we have 36 stitches across. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to chain 37 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and on until we get 37 stitches. So I'm going to continue to chain, and when I get to 37, I will meet back up with you and show you how to do the next step. All right, so I'm back, and as you can see, I have made 37 chains for my chain row. Next, we are going to start with row 1. Row 1 will be a row of single crochets all the way across. What we're going to do is we're going to count the second chain from the hook, and that's where we're going to make our first single crochet. So when we count our chains from the hook, we don't count the loop that's on the hook. We don't count the loop that's on the hook, and this one is number 1, and this one's number 2. So in this second chain right here, we are going to put a single crochet stitch. Right, so there is our first stitch. Now we're going to go into every single chain space and place a single crochet all the way across until we get to the other side. Just want to say that the first row can sometimes be a little frustrating and tricky because we don't have as much to hold on to with our non-dominant hand. However, after the first row, you're going to be fine. For those of you who are beginners, just want to go over that single crochet. That is, you put your hook in the loop, you pull through a loop, You have 2 loops on your hook. Now you pull another loop through those 2 loops, and that is a single crochet. So now I am going to continue to place a single crochet in every single one of these chain spaces until I get to the end of the row, and then we will start with row 2. All right, so I have put a single crochet all the way across in every single one of those chain spaces, and now I am ready to start row 2. Row 2 is actually going to be the repeat row. So this is going to be the row that you are going to repeat until you are at the end of your square. So what I recommend doing is continuing to repeat this row until your piece measures a square. All right, so here we go. We are going to chain 1 and turn. Next, we're going to identify this stitch right here. This is the first stitch, okay? And that first stitch has 2 different loops on it when you're looking at that V shape, right? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting the crochet hook into just that back loop, okay? Again, just going to put it in that back loop right there, and we're going to put a single crochet right there in that back loop by pulling up a loop and then pulling through 2. Okay, we're going to continue across, putting a single crochet in the back loop over and over until we get to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a single crochet all the way across, and when I get to the end, I will meet back up with you and remind you how to start the row. All right, so now that I have come all the way across to the end of this row, I am going to chain 1 and turn. And when we turn, we can start to see how this is very subtly textured. So what we do now is we are going to continue to put 1 single crochet in the back loop of every stitch before. We do this every single row and go all the way across until we make a square shape. So I'm just going to put in a few more stitches so that I can show you what this is going to be looking like once it gets going. Okay, so on this side, you can see that there is now a ridge right here. Yeah? And on this side, you can see that there's a little ridge right here. So let me go ahead and zoom in here. Oh, my camera doesn't want to focus there. There we go. So you can see there's these little subtle ripples. And this is a reversible pattern. Each side is going to look basically the same. So one thing that I like about this back loop single crochet stitch is it is it's a really nice alternative way to make ribbing for a sweater or just anything that needs ribbing for it. So if you don't like that front post and back post double crochet alternating, then you can always use this as ribbing, and of course you use it vertically as that ribbing. So what this stitch is going to do is going to create these really subtle ridges horizontally as you work. So when we put the blanket together, we can decide whether or not we want to put this where these ripples are horizontal or whether or not they're vertical. That is going to be up to you. Either way, we're still going to be able to put those blocks together. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you are continuing to enjoy the Magic Memory Afghan. As always, I really appreciate if you like the video, if you could go ahead and like it. If you are not subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. I have a lot of really great yarny content. I have tutorials. I like to open mystery boxes of yarn. I like to talk about yarn. I like to review craft books and products. I also love to teach helpful tips, and I have a lot of tutorials coming out. I also have multiple giveaways on my channel. If you have not entered my most recent giveaway, make sure you find that giveaway and enter to win. I always have really cool prize packages and you're not going to want to miss that. Go ahead and hit that notification bell, because if you're going to enter to win, then you're going to want to know when I post the winner video. The notification bell will let you know every time I post a video so that you won't be missing out on anything. Again, thank you so much, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye for now.